He was a wounded officer left bleeding in the snow after a ruthless ambush, his breath fading as his loyal German shepherd pressed against him, refusing to leave his side. No backup, no radio signal, no chance. Until a 10-year-old girl trudging through the blizzard found them. What she did next shocked even the federal agents who later investigated the case. With trembling hands and a rescue watch too big for her wrist, she dragged the unconscious man from the wreck, sealed his wound with melting resin, and sheltered him through a storm that swallowed the entire mountain. As the criminals closed in, she became the only light left in a world of white danger. This is the story of a child's courage, an old rescuer's promise, and a dog's unbreakable loyalty. The kind of miracle you only see once in a lifetime. Before we begin, tell me, where are you watching from tonight? Dawn broke quietly over Aspen Hollow, a small mountain town tucked beneath Montana's northern ridge. The air was sharp enough to sting the lungs. 10-year-old Hazel Monroe trudged along the narrow trail toward school 2 miles away. Her boots were too big, hand-me-downs from her late father. She wore a faded green parka, a knitted hat, and on her wrist gleamed a silver rescue watch. Her grandfather had given it to her with solemn words. "Don't fear the forest, Hazel. Listen to it. It always tells you when something's wrong." This morning, the forest was unusually silent. No crows, no woodpeckers, only the distant hum of wind. Halfway down the slope, Hazel stopped. Somewhere ahead came a faint metallic groan, followed by the muffled hiss of steam. She squinted through falling snow. Around the bend, half buried in a drift, she saw it, a police SUV, nose first into a pine tree. The hood was crumpled, steam curling from the grill. One headlight blinked weakly. "Hello?" she called, voice trembling. No answer. She stepped closer. Inside the driver's seat slumped a man in uniform, motionless, head resting against the steering wheel. Beneath the dim interior light, Hazel saw dark crimson staining his left shoulder. A low whine startled her. Behind the metal grate, a German shepherd pressed against the barrier, amber eyes wide and pleading. His tag read, K9 Bruno. Hazel pulled the door handle. It opened with a groan. The officer, Liam Cooper, his nameplate read, was pale, sweat beading his brow despite the cold. Late 30s, tall, broad-shouldered. Hazel pressed her fingers to his neck. There, faint but steady. A pulse. "You're alive," she whispered. She climbed over the console, reaching the ignition. She turned the key. Click. The engine stuttered, then died. It took every ounce of strength to pull Liam from the seat. She dragged him toward a large rock, positioning his back against it. The wound on his shoulder was bleeding through. Hazel shrugged off her parka and laid it over him. The cold bit into her skin immediately. "You'll freeze without this. Just hang on." Bruno barked urgently. She ran to the other side and opened his door. Bruno stumbled out, legs trembling, and lowered himself protectively beside Liam. Hazel tore off her wool scarf and wrapped it tightly around Liam's shoulder. The fabric darkened quickly with blood. She spotted a fallen branch thick with resin. With a rock, she scraped away frozen bark and struck her lighter. The flame caught reluctantly. As the resin dripped, it hissed and hardened into sticky amber. She pressed a clump along the torn edge of Liam's wound. The officer groaned faintly. "It's all right. You're safe now." Liam's eyes fluttered open for a heartbeat. His voice was rough, nearly swallowed by wind. "Vega, Red Hollow, warehouse." "Who's Vega?" But his head lolled sideways, breath catching. The words hung in the air like broken echoes. Whatever had happened to this man wasn't an accident. Someone hurt him. Miles away, Antoine Vega crushed a cigarette under his boot and stared at a cracked phone screen. "He's still breathing," his voice was gravelly. He was tall, hard, early 40s, hair slicked back, a faded military tattoo wrapping his wrist. "If Cooper lives, we're all done. Make it quiet this time." 2 men nodded and disappeared into the storm. By afternoon, the storm thickened. Hazel struggled to drag Liam toward shelter. "There," she whispered through chattering teeth. Ahead was the dark mouth of an old rock cave. She dragged Liam through the entrance, the icy wind slamming behind her. Inside, the air was damp but still. Bruno circled once, then lay beside his master. Hazel gathered dry moss and bark, striking her lighter until a faint flame caught. It took 3 tries before the fire came alive, spreading its glow across the cavern walls. Liam stirred. Don't let them take the drive. What drive? His hand twitched weakly. In the car. Metal casing. They'll kill for it. Then his head dropped back. Hazel's stomach twisted. She had to find it before they did. Bruno raised his head, ears twitching toward the cave mouth. Hazel nodded. You stay. Guard him. The blizzard clawed at her the moment she stepped out. She stumbled back to the wrecked SUV. Inside, she reached under the dashboard, searching frantically. Then she noticed something wedged between the front seats, a spent rifle casing. She turned it over. The back panel loosened. Inside was a tiny memory card. Her breath caught. She slipped it into her parka and zipped it tight. A faint sound broke through the wind, a low hum growing louder. Headlights flashed. Panic seized her. Hazel threw herself into shadows. A pair of black trucks crawled up the slope. Men stepped out carrying rifles. Through the swirl of white, Hazel caught sight of Antoine Vega, tall, shoulders broad, eyes hard and pale. He barked an order. Check the cab, find the body. One man yanked open the driver's door. Empty. Vega approached. Then the woods took him, spread out. One man kicked at the snow and noticed faint footprints, Hazel's. Boss, we got tracks. Vega crouched. Small prints. A child. His expression hardened. Or someone who saw too much. Follow them. Hazel bit her lips so hard she tasted blood. She turned and ran. Back in the cave, Bruno lifted his head and growled. Hazel stumbled through the storm, half blind, lungs burning. When she finally saw the faint glow of firelight, relief hit hard. She dove inside, gasping. They're coming. The faint rumble of engines echoed. From somewhere deep in the woods, a voice shouted, Over here! Tracks lead this way! Miles away, Frank Monroe trudged through knee-deep snow, his old rescue jacket whipping in the wind. He paused at the ridge, pulling binoculars from his pack. Then faintly, a single flash of light bouncing off something metallic far below. Frank's chest tightened. That's her. That's my Hazel. He started down the slope, guided by the mirror signal from Hazel's rescue watch. A shape appeared beyond the snow curtain. Hazel! The voice cracked with age and worry. Grandpa! She cried. Frank Monroe stumbled into the cave, snow clinging to his jacket and beard. He pulled her into a tight embrace. Then he noticed the fire, the injured man, the blood. Tell me everything. Hazel pointed at Liam. He's a police officer. He was shot, and his dog's been guarding him. Frank knelt beside Liam. With careful precision, he cut away the blood-stained fabric. The bullet had gone clean through. He disinfected, packed, and rewrapped it. I knew the name once. Antoine Vega, ex-military, hired gun. Years ago he ran with a smuggling crew. Your father and Liam's father brought them down. We thought he died 15 years ago. Frank stared at Liam's pale face. It's him, Charles's boy. His father saved my life. I promised I'd pay it forward. Frank pulled out a piece of bent metal, a scrap from an old flare casing. He set it near the cave's edge, adjusting it until firelight caught it just right. The reflection cast a bright shimmer against the opposite ridge. What's that for? Hazel asked. A trick. That glint will look like a campfire from miles away. They'll go the wrong way. Bruno let out a low growl. Good instincts, Frank whispered. They're near. Somewhere down the mountain, Vega pushed through snow with grim focus. Then something caught his eye, a faint glow through the trees. There, a fire. He smiled thinly. Spread out. We end this now. In the cave, Frank stirred the coals, lowering the flames until only embers remained. The reflected light still danced on the opposite ridge. He pulled an old revolver from his coat. Stay close to the wall. If anyone comes through that entrance, you keep low. Will we be okay? Frank glanced at his decoy reflecting against the snow. As long as they're chasing light, we've still got time. By dawn, the blizzard was dying. Bruno's body tensed, nose twitching. Frank whispered, They're close, too close. Outside, Vega led his men between trees. There, smoke. They're in that ridge. Inside, Frank turned to Hazel. If they find us, take the flare gun and run east. Fire it straight up. They'll see it from town. She shook her head. I can't leave you. You can and you will. You've already saved one man's life. Now save everyone else's. A man circled behind the cave. A shadow lunged from the rocks. Bruno. The German shepherd hit him like a thunderbolt. A gunshot split the stillness. They found us. Frank grabbed Hazel's arm. Now! She sprinted into the open, flare gun clutched tight, but before she could pull the trigger, a hand yanked her backward. Antoine Vega's face was inches from hers. "Put it down." He pressed his pistol against her temple. Bruno launched forward, slamming into Vega's side. The gun went off, the shot wild. Hazel fell. Another gunshot rang out. From the cave entrance, Officer Liam Cooper had risen, staggering but steady, his sidearm gripped tight. The first bullet struck one man in the chest. The second caught another in the shoulder. Both collapsed. Vega fired toward Liam, grazing his side. Bruno lunged again, teeth sinking into Vega's wrist. Frank emerged, his revolver raised. "Drop it, Vega!" Vega fired once, then turned and ran toward the frozen river. Frank fired the flare high into the air, a streak of red tearing across the gray morning. In the distance came the rhythmic hum of rotors. Down by the river, Vega clutched his bleeding arm. Behind him, figures in tactical gear emerged. "Federal unit, drop your weapon." The ice gave way. Vega disappeared beneath freezing water. When they hauled him out moments later, his wrists were clamped in steel cuffs. The rescue helicopter descended. Medics wrapped a blanket around Hazel's shoulders. "You're safe now." As they lifted Liam onto a stretcher, she caught his hand. "You're going to be okay." Bruno pressed his muzzle into her palm. Frank rested a hand on her shoulder. "You did more than okay, Hazel. You did what most grown men wouldn't dare." A federal agent held up the memory card. "You had this?" Hazel nodded. "It was in his car." "You did the right thing, kid. What's on this might blow this case wide open." A week later, Liam opened his eyes. Bruno appeared at the foot of the bed, tail thumping. "You and me both, partner," Liam murmured. Frank stepped in, carrying wildflowers. "You gave us quite a scare, son." Behind him, Hazel peeked around the door. "You're alive." "I had good help." The hospital television showed the news. Federal conviction. Antoine Vega sentenced to 25 years. The memory card recovered from Hazel's pocket contained body cam footage that dismantled an entire operation. 2 months later, the town gathered. A new wooden building stood at the clearing, Aspen Hollow Canine Rescue Station. Beneath the words, a bronze plaque bore 3 names: Officer Liam Cooper, Frank Monroe, Hazel Monroe. The mayor stepped to the microphone. "This station will serve as a promise that courage isn't measured by age or title, but by heart." Liam took the stage. "That night in the storm, I wasn't the hero. I was the one who needed saving. God sent a child, an old rescuer, and a dog. 3 souls who reminded me that light doesn't always come from the sky. Sometimes it comes from those standing right beside you." Later, Hazel tugged Liam's sleeve. "Does this mean Bruno gets to stay with us forever?" "That's the plan," Frank approached. "You sure about building your life here?" "Too many years chasing noise," Liam said. "It's time to build something that saves lives before they're lost." A week later, Hazel stood outside at sunrise holding her grandfather's rescue watch. She lifted it toward the light. The sun caught its surface, scattering reflections. Bruno chased the glimmers, barking playfully. The 3 of them stood together as morning spread across the valley. "Grandpa, do you think the storm will ever come back?" Frank placed a hand on her shoulder. "Storms always come back, sweetheart, but so does the light. Sometimes miracles don't come with thunder or wings. They come quietly in the shape of a child who refuses to give up, an old man who still believes there's good worth saving, and a loyal dog whose love never asks for anything in return. If this story touched your heart, share it. Type Amen in the comments. If you believe God still works miracles, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so more souls can feel His light. May the Lord bless you and your family.